Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. I am Dr. Sayyid Irfan Raza, and today we are going to cover a very important chapter, that is water, electrolyte, and acid base balance. The human body possesses tremendous capacity to survive against odds and maintain homeostasis. This is particularly true with regard to water, electrolyte, and acid base status of the body. The human body can maintain the blood pH at 7.4, which is regulated by buffers, lungs, and the kidneys. And if there is any increase in the hydrogen ion concentration, the condition is known as acidosis. And if there is any decrease in the hydrogen ion concentration, it leads to a condition which is known as alkalosis. So whenever we study about the water, these three important components, which are acid base balance, electrolyte, and water, are well interrelated. Hence they are considered together for the discussion in this chapter. When we study about this chapter, there can be some important questions which arise in our mind, like what is importance of blood circulation in our body? What is the composition of blood? What fuel the human body utilizes to work? And how many different types of reactions taking place in our body, like TCA cycle, urea cycle, electron transport chain? What is the importance of water in these cycles? How these reactions can affect by change on pH? Changing in pH will affect definitely the regulation of these cycles. How blood pH is maintained in our body? What happens if this pH is changed? And the last question, how body compensates if there is change in the pH? So in this chapter, we will study about water turnover and its balance, electrolyte balance and metabolism, acid base balance and maintenance of blood pH, acid base balance disorders. If you have not subscribed my channel, I request you to please subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon button so that you can have my latest lectures updates. Thank you. In this lecture, that is lecture number 1 of the water, electrolyte and acid base balance, we are going to study about the importance of water in human body, functions of water, distribution of water in our body, sources of water, and we will study about the water loss from our body. So these are the 5 important topics which we will cover in lecture 1 of the lecture 4 series of water, electrolyte balance and acid base balance. So starting from water, the solvent of life. Water is the solvent of life, no doubt. Undoubtedly, water is the most important than any other single compound to life. It is involved in several body functions, which include aqueous medium. It works as a reactant. Water acts as a transport of solute. It works as a vehicle, and it is involved in the body temperature regulation. How it works as an aqueous medium, that is, various biochemical reactions are taking place in the presence of water only. For example, if this is a cell, there are many chemical reactions are taking place, like urea cycle, like glycolysis, electron transport chain. There are so many other biochemical reactions are taking place. These all chemical reactions are taking place because of the water, which works as an aqueous medium. How water reactants water itself participate in many chemical reactions. So water reacts, for example, all the process in which hydrolysis takes place, it is only possible because of presence of water. Transport, that is, the body takes up nutrients, glucose, proteins, and also all the other water soluble compounds taken up by the intestine, it is transported to the different body organs and tissues only with the help of water. So it regulates body temperature, that is associated with regulation of body temperature as well. So these are the key functions of the water. Distribution of water. Water is the major body constituents, and in adult contains almost 60% water. Like you can see 70 kg healthy human being, the 60% in male, that is 55 to 70% in the men and 45 to 60% in women, the water is present. So water is the key component, it is the key constituent of the human body. So when we study about the distribution of water, we say that how much amount of water is present in the ECF, that is extracellular fluid, which comprises of two components, interstitial fluid and the plasma, that is the plasma which is present in our circulation. And the other one is ICF, that is intracellular fluids. How much amount of water is present inside the cells? Inside the cells, all the cells present in a human body, it contains water. In the extracellular spaces, that is ECF, there is also presence of water. So there are almost 42 liters or 42,000 ml of water is present in our body, in which the ICF contributing 28 liter, while ECF contributing 14 liter. That is, outside of the cell 14 liter is present, and inside the cells the body contains almost 28 liter of water. These two combine to produce 42 liters. So ECF is further distributed in interstitial fluid and in the plasma. So how much amount of water is present in plasma and how much amount of water is present in the interstitial fluids? In the ECF, 14 liter of the water is present. This 14 liter of water is distributed into interstitial fluid, that is 10.5 liter, which is this portion, this portion, this portion, and also this portion. Other than the cell, in between the cells, it is 10.5 liter water is present in the interstitial fluid. While in the plasma, 3.5 liter water is present in the plasma. Sources of water. So there can be two main sources of water. These are the exogenous sources and the endogenous sources. Exogenous sources, that is the ingested water, and for example in the form of beverages, in the form of water content of the solid food. For example, we take in protein, we take in carbohydrate, we take in lipids and different other sources, milk and the milk products. All these contain water, and this is contributing this contributes in the exogenous source of the water. Then there is some endogenous source of the waters. For example, how much amount of water is produced in our body itself, that is the metabolic water produced within the body, is contributing in the endogenous source of the water. And how much amount of exogenous and endogenous sources producing the water? Let's see. For example, water ingested, it is almost how much amount of water we take in, water content in the food, water intake controlled by thirst center, that is ingestion of water depends upon the thirst. Ingestion of water is mainly controlled by this thirst center. This thirst center located in the hypothalamus of the brain increase the osmolality of the plasma, causes increase the water intake by stimulating thirst center. That is, if there is increase in osmolality, there will be increase in water intake, because increase in osmolality will affect the thirst center, and once this thirst center is ignited or it initiated, there will be increase in thirst and we will take more and more water. So increased osmolality is directly proportional to the water intake. Endogenous sources of the water is metabolic water. Metabolic water is that the food we take in metabolizes. For example, the food we take in contributes protein, carbohydrates, lipids, fatty acids. all these produce some amount of water, and the total amount of water which is produced by the metabolism is 300 to 350 milliliter per day. 1 gram of carbohydrate will produce 0.6 ml of water. 1 gram of protein will produce 0.4 ml of water. Fats 1.1 ml of water, the maximum. So these are the food particles: carbohydrate, proteins, and fats. They're producing 0.6 ml, 0.4 ml, and 1.1 ml of water. Water loss from the body. So water loss from the body is, there are 4 main possibilities through which the water is lost from the body. That is, number 1 is the urine. This is the major route of the water loss from the body. In a healthy individual, the urine output is variable, that is 1 to 2 liter. Then there is another source of water loss, that is from the skin. Losses of water occurs through the body surface by perspiration, that is sweating. कूलिंग प्रोसेस के दौरान जो पानी बॉडी के अंदर से लॉस होता है, दैट इज perspiration जो होती है. एंड देन द थर्ड वन इज water loss from the lungs. That is also very important. During respiration, some amount of water, about 400 ml per day, is lost through the expired air. So air is saturated with the water which we exhale, and this water is lost through the lungs. So the water loss from the feces as well. Most of the water which enters in the gut, that is intestine, gastrointestinal tract, is reabsorbed by the intestine. But some amount of water is required to produce feces, and to excrete out the feces, almost 150 ml of water is required by the healthy body. But in some condition, this water loss is increased, for example in case of diarrhea. So how much amount of water is lost by the urine? Let's see. The major route of the water loss is urine, that is almost 1 to 2 liter per day is required. But we cannot completely shut down this urine production to save water, because almost 500 ml per day water is required. It is essential to eliminate the waste products, that is nitrogenous waste products. यूरिया को हमने बॉडी से eliminate करना है, excrete out करना है. 500 minimum amount of 500 ml per day is required. So through skin, it is almost 500 milliliter per day. Unregulated process. This is highly regulated process, but this is unregulated process, and it depends upon the environmental temperature. If there is increase in the if there is increase of the 1 degree centigrade of the body temperature, there will be increase in 15% increase in the water. That is, the loss is more in hot and humidity. The loss is more in hot climate. Fever causes increased water loss through the skin. It is estimated that for every 1 degree rise in body temperature, about 15% increase is observed. This is what mentioned here. In condition of fever, if there is 1 degree increase in temperature, there will be 15% increase in water loss through the skin. Then 400 ml of the water is lost through lungs per day through the expired air. But it is also depending upon the hot environment and fever. Water loss is increased. Water loss through the skin and lungs, that is the water loss from the skin and lungs, that is 500 ml of this and 400 ml of this combines, it is known as insensible water loss. So if someone asks you what is insensible water loss, is the water loss through the skin and the water loss through the lungs, it is known as insensible water loss. The water loss from the feces, most of the water entering, as we mentioned before, in the gut is reabsorbed, but some amount of water is required to excrete out the waste products. It is almost 150 ml of water per day which is required to loss through the feces to excrete out the feces. But in conditions like diarrhea, the water loss is tremendously increased. Daily water balance. So daily water balance means that the amount of water we take in and the water amount we produced. So the water amount taken is 2500 ml. The water amount we produced or we excrete out is almost 2500 ml. This is almost same. Now, for example, dear students, we take in that this is the water reservoir. This is the human body in which the water is present almost 42,000 ml, that is 4200 liter of water is present in our body. The contributing sources are the drinking water, that is 1500 ml, the food stuff we take in 700 ml, metabolic water is almost 300 ml. So these are the contributing factors in the human body in which the water is coming in, that is water intake, and the water is produced by the human body or leaving the human body in the form of urine, that is 1500 ml, skin from 450 ml, lungs is producing 400 ml, and feces is producing 2500 ml. These two are known as insensible water loss. The water loss from the skin and the lungs, that is almost 850 ml water loss from the body, is known as insensible water loss. I request you to please subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon button so that you can have the next lecture as well. In this lecture, the key points are functions of water. We studied four different functions of the water. We studied about the distribution of water in extracellular and intracellular spaces. We studied about the sources of water, exogenous sources and endogenous sources. We also studied about the water loss from the body. For example, the biggest source is urine, and the insensible water loss and the water loss from the feces. And we also studied about what is insensible water loss, and if I ask you how much amount of water is considered as insensible water loss, it's almost 850 ml. Dear students, I hope you understand this lecture, and if you like this lecture, please subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon button so that you can have the notifications of the next lectures, in which we've studied about the electrolytes, the importance of the electrolytes, the functions of the electrolytes, and the metabolism of the electrolytes. And next lecture we studied about the acidosis, alkalosis, and acid-base balance. Thank you very much and take care.